Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone, Kauri. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here and we will find solutions for our problems. So stay out of our issues and we will not get involved in your issues in America. The ANC mayor and councillor will be required to sign a public performance agreement and a code of ethical conduct. They will undergo regular performance assessments. They participate in leadership development programs and report regularly to their communities. We don't want councillors and mayors who, after being elected, become disconnected from their communities. We want community engagement, community meetings, community report backs, community updates, and community mandate seeking so that we move in tandem with our people. Representatives who fail to perform, who act dishonestly, or who abandon their communities will definitely be removed.
What's your legacy as President of South Africa? And therefore we must go and look at the real facts. And if we go and look at the economy, we will see that when you became the President in 2018, the growth rate, the economic growth rate was 1.3%. Last year, it was 0.9%. So under your leadership, the economy retreated backwards, causing havoc for the people of South Africa. We had a meeting with you as leaders on Eskom, and you yourself said 20 years ago, Eskom was seen as one of the best electricity utilities in the world. Who destroyed Eskom? The ANC destroyed Eskom. You were in charge of the war room to end load shedding. You failed. When you became president in 2018, the local currency against the dollar was nothing else than 11 Rand 55. Yesterday, it was 18 Rand 92. That's under your leadership. And if you go and look at the JSE and the loss of 22% in US dollars, while if you, for instance, look at the Nasdaq 100, they gained 147% under your term as leader, and the S&P 500 gained 75%. Those are the realities. If you go and look at the unemployment rate, when you became the president, the unemployment rate was 24%. It is now 32%. If you go and look at the youth, it increased with 20%, where the unemployment rate for the young people, the youth, at this moment is actually 64%. I want to talk about corruption. Honorable Chairperson, or Speaker, the President himself said that the ANC is accused number one when it comes to corruption. And I said, well, that's what the President said. And I said to yourself, but you are number one of accused number one. And now you have a number two who's also accused of corruption, but nothing happens. What happened with corruption in South Africa? The fact is that your Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, he said that they lied to protect the former president in terms of corruption. The ANC must use its position to defend and to protect the previous president. Honorable President, if you look up at the wall there, you will see there's a banner of Parliament oversight and accountability. There was no accountability. There was no oversight. And it comes to you as well as the next president after Zuma. When they came to the Pala issue, it was this ANC in Parliament who protected you. Why? You said you did nothing wrong. Why didn't you come forward and be accountable to the people of South Africa? I want to quote what the Archbishop Stanley Makgoba said. He said, and I quote, "It is frightening to realize that as a society we've become so worn down by lies, corruption, and incompetence that we're no longer interested in finding out the truth. We've been captured by lies." Close quote. I want to talk about crime in South Africa. Honorable President, in terms of the Global Organized Crime Index, South Africa now ranks 7th in the world, 3rd in Africa, because of mafia-style criminal networks and organized crime syndicates. The murder rate when you became the president was 35 per 100,000 of the population. It is now 45 per 100,000 of the population.
Actually, fear that is the guiding principle here. I don't know what you think of Cyril Ramaphosa's performance when he was sitting next to Donald Trump, trying to repair some kind of relations with, after all, a country that South Africa calls its strategic partner, is what your country calls the United States, even after the genocides in, say, this region.
South Africa's approach to foreign policy is one of engaging and try to mend fences with all powers. I think it moves from a position that the United States remains an important power globally. South Africa differs the United States on a number of key areas when it comes to United Nations reforms of the UN itself. Differs on position whether it comes to Israel and Gaza and a whole list of issues that emerging, so climate and the like. However, the trade between South Africa and the United States is still quite big. American companies are so many in South Africa and they employ a number of people, and therefore it is not in South Africa's interest to go head on with such a powerful country. And therefore, the thinking is that South Africa will then work with BRICS and other formation to really try to bring United States and behave in a manner that is not threatening its security, its standing in the world. And therefore, the usage of diplomacy has been the hallmark of South Africa's foreign policy since 1990.